Welcome class. Today I'm just going with the next topic, the work of logistics. In the context of supply chain management, logistics exist to move and position inventory to achieve a desired time, place, position, benefits at the lowest total cost. The inventory has a limited value until it is positioned at the right time and at the right location to support the ownership transfer, or even we can say a value added creation. If any organization doesn't consistently satisfy the time and the location requirements, what will happen? It has nothing to sell in the market. For a supply chain to realize the maximum strategic benefit from the logistics, the full range of functional work must be integrated. So decision in one functional area will impact the cost of all others. And if this is an interrelation of functions that challenges the successful implementation of integrated logistics management. So this integrated logistics work related to various functional areas creates the capabilities needed to achieve the logistical value. We'll discuss what are the various components are part of integrated logistics. The first component, order processing. This is an important, accurate information which is required to achieve a superior logistical performance. While many aspects of information are critical to logistics operations, the processing of order is of primary importance. Failure to fully comprehend this important will result from how various operations failures in order processing, which will impact the logistical operations. As we already discussed, the current information technology, which is capable of handling the most demanding customer requirements, when desired, order information can be exchanged between the trading partners. The second work of logistic component is of inventory. We discussed the context of inventory in many places. The inventory requirement of any firm is directly linked to the facility network and the desired level of customer service. If you see in a conceptual way, a firm could stock every item sold in every facility dedicated to servicing each customer. A few business operations can afford such a luxurious inventory strategy because the risk and the total cost are prohibitive. The objective of an inventory strategy is to achieve a desired customer service with a minimum inventory commitment. So excessive inventories may compensate for deficiencies in basic design of any logistic system. This will ultimately result in higher than necessary total logistics cost. So logistics strategies should be designed to maintain the lowest possible financial investment in the inventory part. So the basic goal here is to achieve a maximum inventory turn to satisfy the customer service commitments. So whenever we talk about the inventory strategy, there are 5 different components which are part of it. The core customer segmentation, the product profitability, the transportation integration, the time-based performance, and the competitive performance. All these put together will give us a clear understanding of the inventory strategy, which normally be linked with the work of logistics. We move on to the next component in the work of logistics, transportation. It is the operational area of a logistics that geographically moves and positions inventory. Say, based on the fundamental importance and visible cost, the transportation has traditionally received a considerable managerial attention. Say, almost all the enterprises, whether it is big or small, have managers responsible for transportation. It requires the transportation requirements can be satisfied basically under 3 different ways. Either it could be a private fleet of equipment, maybe operated, that is totally it is on a third party service, or in the second way, a contract may be arranged with dedicated transport specialist, or the third way could be an enterprise may engage the services of a wide variety of carriers that provide different transportation services as needed on a per shipment basis. So the company can provide can opt for any one of these strategies to meet out the logistical requirement of the customer. So from the logistical system viewpoint, 3 factors are fundamental to transportation performance. Which one to choose? Which transportation mode to be chosen? That depends on. I hope you remember in the previous week classes, we discussed about the context of transportation in global logistics. So there are 3 factors. There are many factors which are part of contributing the transportation decision, choosing which mode could be the optimum mode. But in addition, there are 3 different factors which also contribute for making a strong decision how to provide a better customer service in terms of cost, speed, and consistency. So I hope you understand. I'll repeat it the 3 points for your greater understanding: the cost, the speed, and the consistency. So the cost of the transport is the transport. Normally we say the payment for shipment between any 2 geographical locations and the expenses related to maintain in-transit inventory. So the logistical system should utilize a transportation that minimizes the total cost. If the product cost consists of 20% from the logistics side, from the supply chain side, then that's not going to be a competitive advantage. So this may mean that least expensive method of transportation may not result in the lowest total cost of logistics. So this is one of the critical component which decides how effectively the logistics plan has to be taken care. The second function is speed. The speed of the transportation is the time required to complete a specific movement. So whenever we talk about speed, the speed and the cost are related in 2 ways. First, transport firms capable of offering faster service typically charge the cost is also higher. So, what is your understanding now? The faster the transportation service, the shorter the time interval during which the inventory is in transit and unavailable. So, a critical aspect of selecting the most desirable method of transportation where we need to balance, yes, exactly, you're right, balancing speed and the cost of the service. The third category or the third component of critical factor under our transportation decision, the consistency. The consistency, what we mean here is the variations in time required to perform a specific movement over a number of shipments. Consistency reflects the dependability of the transportation. Same kind of service are you getting the last time the customer made an order to a firm. He received the order within 5 days. The second time he received the order in 4 days. Third time he may receive the order in 7 days afterwards. So do you want to say is there any consistency is maintaining? No. So that three components, the cost, the speed, and the consistency has to be taken care. Now we move on to our next part of discussion. This part of discussions which we had it earlier in our weeks. But now we are looking in the context of materials handling. So we are looking it in the context of work of logistics. Okay. So warehousing, materials handling, and the packaging. The first three functional areas of logistics are of order processing, inventory and transportation, which can be engineered in variety of different operational arrangements. So each arrangement has the potential to contribute to a specified level of customer service with an associated total cost. So in essence, these functions combine to create a system solution for integrated logistics. The fourth functionality of logistics, what we are having our discussion right now, is with warehousing, materials handling, and packaging. This also represents an integrated part of logistics operation solutions. The materials handling, packaging are an internal part of our logistics area. So the next part of our discussion is on facility network design. The classical, when you look into the earlier theories of economics, they've just neglected the importance of facility location and the overall network design, which normally brings efficient business operations. Supply and demand relationship, which were discussed earlier, facility location and cost transportation, which were assumed equal with all the competitors. But in a reality, in business operation, the number of locations, the size of the locations, and the type of geographical dispersion, the distance covered, used to perform various logistical operations directly impact the customer service capability and the cost. So in the recent researches, the specific facility network design is one such component which was included in the work of logistics. So it is even identified as one of the primary responsibility of the logistical management because your firm's facility structure is used to ship the products and the materials to customers. So typical logical facilities probably just related with manufacturing plants, warehouse parks, the dock warehouses where you're keeping it, or manufacturing hubs, warehousing hubs, cross-dock operations, and even in the retail stores where they are keeping the inventory. So I just discussed with you so far the various components of work of logistics. So I've given you the components in terms of order processing. Then we had look on inventory, transportation. I spent some time on the warehousing, materials handling, and the packaging. And the last important component, which was recently added as one of the primary component in the logistics, which is facility network design. Now I'm taking you to the next important concept, logistical operations. How the integrated logistics relates supplier and the customer, or a manufacturer and the customer. So the conceptualization of logistics, specifically the integrated logistics, in the shaded area. So I'm just going to show you a model. This logistics are considered as the competitive link, which links every enterprise with its customers and the suppliers. So as like in the supply chain model, information from and about customer flow. So we require information in terms of sales activity, forecast and orders. The information is generally refined into specific manufacturing and purchasing plan. Based on that, product materials are procured, a value-added inventory flow is initiated that ultimately results in the ownership of transfer of finished products to customers. So the process is viewed in terms of two interrelated efforts, wherein one side you have information flow, the other end you have an inventory flow. I'll just explain you the various components present in the model. Just look into the internal operations. It is an isolation. There are many internal components which are of prime importance of integrating all the functions and works involved in logistics. First, the inventory flow. The operational management of logistics is concerned with movement and the storage of materials and the finished product. So logistical operations start with the initial shipment of material or a component which part from a supplier and are finalized when a manufactured or processed product is delivered to a customer. So from the initial purchase of a material or raw material or any component, the logistical process adds value by moving inventory when and where it is needed. So providing all goes well, a material gains value at each step of its transformation into a finished inventory. So to support manufacturing, the work in process inventory must be moved to support the final assembly. The cost of each component and its movement becomes part of the value added process. For a large manufacturer, the logistical operations may consist of thousands of movements like this, which ultimately culminate in the delivery of the products to an industrial user, maybe the manufacturer to manufacturer, B2B, or to a user, retailer, wholesaler, distributor, or to any other individual customer. That too, for a large retailer, the logistical operations may commence with the procurement of products for resale and may terminate with the customer pickup or the delivery. So this significant point, that is the inventory flow, whatever may be the size of the organization, the type of the manufacturing plant, the logistics is essential and requires a continuous management attention. So to make the entire model clear to you, the entire model is basically divided under three areas. One is a physical distribution, second one manufacturing and support, and the third one is procurement. So let me start explaining all the three components. One is our physical distribution, second one manufacturing support, and the third one is procurement. What is a physical distribution? The area of physical distribution normally concerns movement of finished product to the customers, right? So in physical distribution, the customer is the final destination point in a marketing channel. Hope you remember when I introduced you what is a customer service. Who is a customer for a logistic professionals? The destination of a customer, where the customer really requires the service. So the availability of the product, the item is a vital part of each channel participant's marketing effort. Even manufacturer's agent, who typically doesn't own any inventory, they may be termed as a third-party warehouse owners. They must also depend on inventory availability to perform in expected marketing responsibilities. So unless if a company is maintaining a proper assortment of products in an efficient way of delivery system, when and where it is needed, required, a great deal of overall marketing effort can be jeopardized. So it's not only we are just concentrating only on the logistics part of all physical distribution, it also affects the entire marketing efforts of the organization as a whole. So it is through the physical distribution process that the time and the space of the customer service become an integral part of marketing as well as logistics. So here we are not only talking about logistics. Logistics is related with marketing here. Logistics is related with the operations of HR, operations of finance, operations of the purchase, operations of the stores, which is keeping the inventory, operations of even the information system, which they are disseminating the information requirement from various parts, connecting supplier with the customer. So physical distribution links a marketing channel with its customer. So to support the wide variety of the marketing system that exists normally in a highly commercialized way, so we need to find or we need to spot out many different physical distribution sources. So all systems have one common feature. They link manufacturer, the wholesaler, and the retailer in the marketing channel that provide the product availability as an integral aspect of our overall marketing and the logistic process. I hope this point of discussion, physical distribution, is very clear, as it is one of the important components of our work of logistics. Shall we move on to the second point? Manufacturing support. The area of manufacturing support concentrates on managing work in process inventory as it flows between stages of manufacturing. The primary logistics responsibility in manufacturing is, what is the primary responsibility of logistical professionals? Can you guess? Yes, let me give me the answer. It is to participate in formulating a master production schedule and to arrange for timely availability of materials or component parts and work in process inventory. So the overall concern of manufacturing support is not how the production occurs. In addition, what, when, where the products will be manufactured. So manufacturing support has one significant difference when compared with the physical distribution. So physical distribution is merely attempting to service the desires of the customers, and therefore if you see, they must accommodate the uncertainty of the customer and industrial demand. Only to that part the physical distribution covers. What is the manufacturing support? Which involves the movement of the requirements that are under the control of the manufacturing enterprise. So this is also equally important. That's what I want to make you very clear on this point. Okay. So the uncertainties introduced by random customer ordering, erratic demand accommodated by physical distribution are not present in most manufacturing operations. From the viewpoint of overall planning, the separation of manufacturing support from which is manufacturing support is considered as one of our inbound logistics activity. The physical distribution is identified as outbound distribution activity. Procurement is again inbound. So though we discuss the entire work of logistics under the three heads, but all the three are interrelated, interconnected. That's what I want to make a clear point. Unless you could relate the procurement, the physical distribution, as well as the manufacturing support together, reaching out a better customer service is a biggest question mark. So the first two components, I hope I have clearly explained. Now the third component, which is part of procurement. Procurement is concerned with what? What comes to your mind immediately when you think of procurement? Yeah, just try to answer me. Yes, procurement is concerned with purchasing and arranging the inbound movement of materials, parts, and finished inventory from suppliers to manufacturing or any other assembly plants, or warehouses, or the retail stores. So depending on the situation, the acquisition process, what I mean here, the purchase process. It is commonly identified by different names. You can say acquisition, resource planning, resource identification, sourcing, any name can say, which all related with procurement part. So depending on the situation, the acquisition process is commonly identified by, say in the manufacturing, the process of acquisition is typically called purchasing. If you use in a government organizations where they use acquisition as being traditionally referred as a procurement. So in retailing, if you go with wholesale buying, they normally say buying or sourcing. The process is referred to in the context of our logistics, we refer the context of procurement as inbound logistics, which is happening within the organization, which is happening internally. So the term procurement is used here to include all types of basic purchases. So the material is used to identify the inventory moving inbound to an enterprise. So the term product is used to identify inventory. Product, what we normally mean, the value added final product which is consumed by the customer. So what is the relevance of procurement under the context of our logistics model, our work of logistics model? Procurement is concerned with availability of the desired material assortments where and when needed. So whereas the physical distribution is an outbound product shipment, purchasing procurement is concerned with inbound logistics, inbound materials, inbound sorting, inbound assembly. Under most marketing situations involving consumer products, say a grocery manufacturer who that ships to retail, food chain manufacturer, physical distribution, these are all same process as retailer procurement operation. So in all case of procurement, typical transportation requirements may be involved, a degree of management control and the risk related performance failures. These are all some kind of common issues for procurement in the physical distribution. So all the three components which we had our discussion now, that is our procurement, physical distribution and manufacturing support. These are all overlapping each other, interrelated with each other. So viewing each as an integral part of the overall value adding process, which creates opportunities to capitalize on the unique attributes of our facility, what a company really wants to provide as a customer benefit to their customers. So what is the prime concern for the integrated logistical process? It is to coordinate the overall value-added inventory movement. So we need to coordinate the integrated management of material, semi-finished components and products moving between various geographical locations, supply sources, and with the customers of the enterprise. So logistics is, so I just want to put it in a nutshell what we have seen so far with the integrated logistics, a work of logistics. Logistics is concerned with a strategic movement of total movement of the storage. So the points what I discussed so far is relevant with the material flow. What is about the information flow? Information flow identifies specific locations within a logistical system that have requirements. Information also integrates three operating areas. The primary objective of developing and specifying requirements related with the information is to plan and execute integrated logistical operations. Within individual logistics area, different movement requirements exist with respect to size of the order, viability of the inventory, and agency of the movement. So what is the primary objective of information sharing is the requirements parallel the actual work performed in physical distribution, manufacturing support, and the procurement. There are areas that contain the actual logistics work. Information facilitates the coordination of planning and control of day-to-day operations. So without accurate information, the effort involved in the logistical system may be wasted. Logistical information involves two major types of flows: coordination flows and operational flows. So the objective at this point is to provide an introductory overview of information requirements necessary to drive the integrated logistics system. So what is our planning and coordination flow? Coordination is a backbone of overall information system among the value chain participants. The coordination results in plans specifying various stages. So before, let me proceed with planning and coordination flow in the context of information flow. Let me just summarize whatever we have seen under the context of work of logistics today. We started our discussion with the work of logistics, wherein order processing is one part of, or even the initial part of logistics, continued by the inventory requirements. Then we discussed with the various transportation options in terms of cost, in terms of speed, and the consistency. Then we had a discussion on warehousing, materials handling, and the packaging part. And a very important component which was missed earlier days, that is our facility network design, which also we started. Then after completing the discussion, I've just shown the logistical operation as an integrated model, integrated logistics model, where we have 4 different components. One is about the flow, one is the inventory flow, other one is the information flow, and we are connecting the information and the inventory flow, integrating customer at the one end, supplier at the other end. So we have supplier and customer connected through inventory flow and the information flow. And there are 3 important components which are part of this. One is our physical distribution, second one manufacturing support, and the third one is about the procurement. So I've presented the issue on physical distribution. The entire thing we discussed in the context of inbound logistics. Procurement is part of inbound logistics. Manufacturing support is part of our outbound logistics. Physical distribution is part of our outbound logistics. So what is the connectivity in all the 3? In addition, I discussed with you the inventory flow, how inventory flow happens, and now I'm just presenting the information flow. So we are going to have the last part of our discussion, information flow. Information flow in the context of 2 different categories. One is called planning and coordination flow. The second one we have yet to see is our operational requirement flow. So I'm just going to present in the next class how the objective of information flow, which flows through on 2 different aspects, planning and coordination flow. Okay, I hope this work of logistics, introduction of the specific model, and the discussion of the 3 important components, that is physical distribution, manufacturing support, and the procurement, how they are relating the customer at the one end and the supplier or the manufacturer at the other end. This will clearly makes you an idea of how the profession of logistics is totally integrated with all the elements present in this specific model. Okay. What is the primary objective of any information flow? If I ask you, throw you that specific question, can you all answer me? Yes, the primary objective of any information flow is to reconcile how quickly the system will capable of responding to the queries of a customer. So ultimately the objective of introducing you the integrated logistics model is how capable a firm is to respond to the queries of various customer demand. I hope you had a great time in understanding this specific